you've said in the past that strategy isn't marketing. It's about crafting a message so clear that people understand it. And in lots of ways, like I loved the Innocent smoothie original marketing because it seemed to be so simple and honest. And I remember way back where they kind of started at music festivals, and they had those two bins. I think they were labelled yes and no, and they were asking festival goers if they really should continue making smoothies. So a lot of it was very transparent. It came across as very ethical, and at the same time, there was a kind of a minimalist advertising piece to it as well. But could you tell us a little bit more about what worked there from your point of view, and maybe how you didn't have to necessarily rely on heavy marketing to get that brand position?
Well, just to be clear, I only had any involvement with Innocent post Coca-Cola, so I wasn't there like in the I wasn't there in the early days. But a lot of what Innocent did now seems very obvious, and you get a lot of brands doing similar stuff, but without realizing that what was innovative in 1999 is not innovative in what year are we in? 2024. 2024. Yeah. And in a lot of ways, things were easier back then because the barrier to entry for all categories was higher. And so, so there was a lot more ideas up for grabs. We're really the low-hanging fruit, broadly speaking, is gone, but it hadn't gone then. Right? I would say that like making something with simple, natural ingredients, which is essentially what Innocent was all about, I would not consider that to be a very creative idea. I mean, they executed it creatively, but like the core idea, it's not rocket science. But the industry being the way the industry was, it just hadn't happened to happen now. And so in a way, you can look back and you can be very jealous and say, "Wow, it would have been nice to be in a day when you could make a huge, exciting brand from an idea that any idiot kind of could have come up with." But to your point about the execution, although the idea was very simple, the execution was obviously very, very artfully done. And yeah, I never thought about it really, but it was very minimalist. And there is this thing here where, my background is in the sort of marketing, advertising sort of agency space, and the world that really fetishizes creativity. And in some senses, I've had to unlearn that because that industry came of age in a time where, like I say, barrier to entry was very high. You get a lot of fairly undifferentiated generic options that were produced by big corporations. And the battleground was, largely speaking, fought in a lot of categories in advertising. And it really was who can most creatively advertise their same generic slop. We're all going to go out there with generic slop, and the one who does the best creative advertising wins. So you have the golden age of advertising in the 1990s and stuff like that. Amazing stuff was done. And creativity really mattered. And people loved ads, and people would be excited to see ads. Now, obviously, advertising is sort of falling apart. People ask why. I would suggest it's probably because creativity is a very controversial statement, which I don't even know if it's true, but I'm going to chuck it out there. Creativity matters less than ever because people have realized that if you have a strong enough strategy, if you're strong enough and a strong enough offer, you can just say that to people in a plain spoken way and they will buy it. And you don't need to do any jazz hands. You don't need to do anything very creative. Of course, the more creative you make it, the better, provided that the creativity doesn't obscure the message, which can happen a lot if you let sort of two, in a sense, creative people get a hold of it. Suddenly you'll find this like very clean and simple message buried beneath a bunch of sort of superfluous flair. But now, yeah, you're getting huge businesses are built with very plain spoken but well targeted offers. And we just kind of don't need the same level of lateral thinking applied to marketing anymore. That's the way it feels to me. I don't think this is true for every category. I don't think that this is true for like fast moving consumer goods, CPG stuff, because you're talking about products that fundamentally people don't really care about or think about much. And so whoever gets the most cut through and sort of name recognition wins. And you could definitely use creativity to just get cut through and name recognition. Like, you don't need to come up with a sophisticated sales script to sell a chocolate bar. Nobody's buying a chocolate bar based on a sales script. They're buying a chocolate bar based on largely which one have I sort of heard of and do I feel positive to. So yes, there are categories where the old school advertising techniques definitely work, but for the most part, clarity is probably more important than creativity.
Yeah.